Hello and welcome to the Brick Cave Podcast. I am your co-host for the day, Marcus Campbell, author of the poetry book My Identity as a Stereotypical Side Character, joined by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Patrick, book says Hare, author of Corporate Boilerplate Vinegar, a wide-ranging collection of poems created over the course of a long time, and as Marcus had noted, COVID was a blur, so this book was all put together before COVID, which means I have 5 or 6 poems that I've written after that point.
Yeah, I'm about in the same spot. We were discussing before we went live from an active shooter situation, which I'm sure will become relevant at some point. But we were discussing before we went live how everything during the COVID period kind of seems like a blur. And I wrote my manuscript. I wrote a bulk of it during COVID, and a lot of it came before COVID. And it seems like that lockdown period really warped all the time space around it. So I don't know, maybe we were visited by an alien and they kept us all inside.
Well, it's a long time ago I'd seen a documentary on the 1918 flu pandemic and how after it was over people just shut up about it or pretended it never happened. And so in some ways it feels like the same thing. Like, oh boy, wasn't that unusual. Now we're back to all our regularly scheduled programming with higher real estate prices.
No.
And $17 McDonald's.
Yes,
And
exactly.
$17 McDonald's. Talk about getting railroaded. Awful. Absolutely awful. How has everything been going in your world, Patrick?
Things are going as well as they possibly can in my world, I guess. Got to do the book festival. Was that March now?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Wow. See, things are time flying. That's the other problem. Yes, time distortion. It's not. Maybe it is the aliens. We got all this lost time because that was a really good time. I sold a bunch of books and got to meet a bunch of people down there in Tucson. The weather was good. There weren't any hornets in the nest in the tent this time. Yeah, or yellow jackets. I think they were. So
Fantastic. Was it Tucson?
Tucson, yeah.
Tucson Festival of Books?
Right.
Awesome. Did you do any panels while you were down there?
No, I did not do any panels.
Ooh,
We got to figure out how to do panels.
thank God.
I'm going to get into some of their poetry reading type stuff because I think that'd sell a few books here and there.
I
Yeah.
think so too.
I found paneling to be a little bit more productive for me. And you're a slam poet, so I'm sure you don't run into this problem quite as often. But I didn't necessarily, when I was writing a lot of my poems, I read them aloud while I was writing them so that they would sound appropriate, so
Yeah.
that they could be read. I never pictured myself reading them in front of people. And then I realized the bulk of my poems, and a lot of my favorite poems in my book, are ones that I do not want to read in front of people. So I kept running into that problem as well. Like, well, this one sounds really good. It's one of my favorite poems from the book, but I don't necessarily want to read this one in front of people. It's an interesting little thing to run up against with the reading versus the panel.
Yeah, I've had a lot where it's like, if it wasn't designed for the slam, it might be more of, okay, this is more of a heady intellectual one. But the reason I got into writing poems in the first place was that I had gone to academic readings when I was in college, and they were the most boring things in the world. It's like, oh, this is so-and-so, they're an esteemed poet, blah, blah, blah. And then they just, they have their poem, they throw in a cheap political statement. It's like, I don't mind a political statement, but you got to develop it and work it, like old Star Trek episodes or something, make some art out of it. But instead it was like, well, this was written during the Gulf War, the one that played so well on television, and everyone goes, ha ha ha. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, it was controversial, all right, but it seems like your poem is boring. That's the problem. Like, make your poem exciting. Tell me why it was a bad thing, or why if you're gonna hate on the politics or hate on the politicians, do a good job of it. I mean, just dig in there, but don't bore me to death. Because if I'm doing this because I have to, because I'm in an English course, it better be good. You're an academic poet. I know you're getting paid by a press. Maybe you're critically acclaimed, but seriously, if you want to sell some of those books, make it happen.
Yeah. I forget which Nobel poetry winner recently had like a hilariously low number of books sold, but won the Nobel Prize for poetry. I forget who it was, but someone's gonna have to Google that and shoot Bob or I an email.
Yeah, Bob Dylan doesn't sell many books, does he? Yes, he did.
Well, actually, he writes now.
Well, now he does.
Yeah.
Not known for his writing until he won his
Yeah,
Nobel
apparently.
Prize and cranked out a book of.
They
What?
call those multimedia people.
Right,
Taylor
exactly.
Swift, who's now a children's book author.
Well, how hard is that? She's just got to scratch some stuff on a page. Yeah, build some illustrations for this.
Yeah, I've ChatGPT do it. Well, ChatGPT doesn't do illustrations, but you catch my drift.
It's Dali.
Yeah, Dolly.
Dali.
I use Dolly a lot.
Doesn't
Those use
pronounce
a
it right.
those use a frightful amount of water. Those AI systems use a horrific amount of water. I was just like listening to a lecture on it the other day. It was
Oh, it's
quite
not-
interesting.
Cooling or
Yeah, and cooling.
Well, it's not the water that goes away; it's the heat, which is produced with electricity.
Yeah, it's quite a process. Do you have any fear for AI in the writing space at all? How do you feel about AI in the writing space?
Normally, I can still detect AI because I read articles on search engine optimization and marketing and everything else, and then there's also these little listicles you see, like here's the 10 best psychedelic songs of the '60s, and if you read those, you can tell they were written by AI just because everyone reads exactly like the other one, the one behind it, and they all use the same adjectives and. I wish I could find one because I was going through one and like there were 5 words that were used in every single one of those, and a person who was editing that would not keep using the same words, and it was just the same flat, Vanilla Fudge was a band from here at this time. They did this. It was almost like a kid's book report.
Yeah.
And the same thing. This was their big song. Next.
On to the next one.
Right, but it's like in some ways I envy the people who crank this crap out because they got, 3 ads between every part of the list and you got to press the next button and the page loads. So they're selling their exposure, which is, of course, watering down the value of advertising on the internet. But at the same time, if I keep seeing this crap, it means they're successful at it. I think in that sense that AI has taken the jobs away from the hack writers and the people on, what was it? There was the 5RR. There was one where you could pay somebody $5.
Fiverr.
Yeah.
Fiverr, yeah, there's a whole bunch of hacks on Fiverr. Is losing the hacks a bad thing?
Well.
That's an interesting.
Having been a hack myself, yes.
That was kind of what I was driving at. Is having admittedly been a hack, and I'm still a hack, I think, by most measures. There's got to be some space for people to sell, 2 or 3 books or, kind of write a few articles for a little bit of money. Like I had a small job when I was in college writing for a little political blog that actually had a really interesting concept. It took each news story and broke it down with a left opinion, a right opinion, and a centrist opinion. And so basically you would log on and you'd get paid to write either the left, right, or center opinion.
Well, you need a conspiracy opinion on top of that.
I do think there should have been a QAnon level to the...
But from the standpoint of, sometimes when you're starting out, or the search engine optimization company I'd worked for, they would hire people with English degrees who would write things, and they would get started out by writing content and copy, and then they would move up into the optimization part because, frankly, it's pretty simple. And at least for the building content that matches what a search engine wants to see. But now that's gone. I mean, now people are just putting a prompt in, like, okay, now write me 500 words about air conditioning units, and boom, it's there. And they can say to modify it, they can change it. A lot of times people just paste it in there. But now even the search engine optimization articles, you can see they're written by AI. Mm-hmm. They'll have a topic, and then they'll have way too much text. I mean, this is too long, didn't read type stuff where it's just going on, and it's the same stuff. It's like a cliche because AI is built on probabilities. And so, okay, here's the probabilities of these words occurring, and it spits it back out into the article. So that's why everything seems very flat when you're reading it, because it's taking out the outliers of here's the interesting stuff, or here's the angle that you really want to read about if you're a human being. Instead, it's it is kind of like garbage. And I know they'll probably get beyond that at some point. But as long as it involves standing up and reading things, I can do that. But I just think there's a career path that's being taken away from people who might have started out on the writing side and then worked their way into other things. I mean, I'm in the insurance field now, but a lot of the stuff that I got there with involved writing. It was somebody who knew somebody who got me out of working in banking and into working for a water filter company because they knew me from a poetry slam. And then so that took me into, search engine optimization, search engine marketing, analytics. I mean, it was all kind of in a big ball, but when you take AI and you just sort of cut off that path, then where do all those people go? I mean, there's probably another path or another way in, but that was my way in, and now it's been shut off.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, my way in was very similar as well. I'm in marketing now, and the way that I got there was starting and writing and kind of using those skills to make myself more and more competent as like someone who could actually be employed as opposed to what I was doing before, which was just like kicking around the world as a ne'er-do-well. But to our lovely active shooter situation, everybody at Brick Cave is okay. We're doing wonderful down here. It's great. I just wanted to slide into some poetry real quick. We have an active shooter situation down here by the Brick Cave studio, so I thought I would read a poem that I think is a little bit fitting. This one's from my book, My Identity as a Stereotypical Side Character. It's called Proper Reactions to Gunshots. There's no need to be alarmed. You've seen it all before. Then, tell your loved ones to stay put. Large caliber rounds aren't meant for small caliber people. Or, make sure nobody's bleeding out by the base of the stairs or on your porch. Or, you don't need those landscaping problems. You'd rather just have the blood on your hands instead. Or, when you see the shooter running, don't say anything to anybody because one dead black man is better than 2 dead black men. Or, stay vigilant until your cigarette reduces itself to ash. After that, it's just no longer your problem. Or, avoid the police. You probably look like the shooter. Then go to bed and lay still until you fall asleep to the church of ghetto birds. To the chirp of ghetto birds, not the church.
Wow.